Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, cool.
Number 10! Haha! 10.
Yep, we're good. I thought I forgot a 10th one. You know, there's some things in Summoner's War that are a little hard to tell what is. Today we're going to be looking at 10 of the secret mechanics in Summoner's War. These are things that the game doesn't necessarily present to you front and center. You gotta go digging for them.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too bad!
Also, these are not necessarily all of the secret mechanics in Summoner's War. These are just, well, frankly, 10's just a really good number. So it's 10. Starting off the list, we're going to be discussing Threat State. Threat State is a buff that's activated by certain monster skills, and it's got a few weird idiosyncrasies about it. Threat State makes it so that the enemy player has no choice but to attack the monster with Threat State applied. Now, they can use whatever skill that they want on it, but it has to be targeting that monster. But what it doesn't necessarily tell you right away is that Threat State also comes with, I bit my lip. But what it doesn't immediately tell you is that Threat State also comes with a damage reduction. Specifically, it reduces incoming damage by 15%. So you're not going to be taking the full brunt of the enemy's assault as long as you're under Threat State. The next secret mechanic is the interaction between Provoke and Threat State, and specifically which one takes priority over the other. The answer is, if you find yourself in a situation where you are both provoked and having to attack someone who's under Threat State, the Provoke will take precedence. This is because the player does not have agency when they're provoked. Instead, their monster will automatically attack whoever provoked them. So even if the provoker is a different monster than whoever has Threat State on, you're still going to attack that provoker because you don't have a choice. Once agency comes back to you, then you'll have to obey the Threat State, presuming that it's still on that monster. But if you're ever in that situation, Provoke is going to go first. Now that the Abyss floors are upon us, there's been a lot of discussion about max HP scaling damage. And for good reason. I like to say that bosses have a ton of HP because it's the truth. But something that's not immediately apparent unless you go searching for it is that vampire runes don't give you lifesteal on max HP scaling damage. Because imagine how much you'd heal. Dude, you'd heal up to full. That's crazy. Next, units who are crowd controlled don't get their skill cooldown reduced on the turn that they're controlled. So if your monster is stunned and they miss their turn, they'll also miss their cooldown. That's why things like Zabala the Water Puppeteer's third skill are so good, because it's going to attempt to put everybody on one turn of cooldown, but also freeze them for one turn. So that means when they wake up from freeze on that first turn, they won't get that skill cooldown back. So it's almost like it's a 2-turn cooldown. Almost. Not exactly, because they can resist one of them, but almost.
Oh, you almost had it. You gotta be quicker than that.
Next, you can't glance on sleeping units. This change was made a little while ago to help further differentiate sleep from its stun and freeze counterparts. So let's say you happen to sleep a Douglas with a Hawthorne. If you attack him, even if you have less attack than he does, you're not gonna glance because he's asleep. It's semi-rare that this comes into play, but if you set it up properly, you can make some good use out of it. Next, when it comes to effects that prevent death, specifically Triana for this example, if you happen to be using Triana on your arena defense or have any effects that prevent death, you wanna make sure to put them on the far right. In the event that the whole team is cleaved, Triana will only be able to save people on our left, so her right. Next secret mechanic. Revenge runes actually come with a damage reduction. When you counterattack with a revenge set, you're actually counterattacking for 75% of your basic damage. This one is more well known now, but team up effects reduce skill cooldowns of the people that they team up with. Have you ever wondered why your Icarus have their team up ability available every single time they go? It's because they're reducing their cooldowns every time they pull a team member. Which is part of the reason why I love things like Raoke, the Fire Inugami in Trial of Ascension, because he helps get your monster's skills back online faster. Next, you cannot apply debuffs on a glance. This is part of the description of the glancing debuff in general, though it should also be known that it applies to things like Neftis that don't check accuracy versus resistance when applying debuffs. So if she glances, she still can't apply a debuff. It's just part of the mechanic. Nothing is guaranteed if you glance. The last mechanic that I'm going to talk about today, and actually I've talked about it in the past too, but it's one of those things that's so important that I feel like it needs the airtime. It's the relationship between according to and proportionate to in skill descriptions. Skills that say according to scale with both the stat mentioned and attack, while skills that say proportionate to only scale with the stat mentioned. Copper and Bulldozer are perfect examples of this, because both of them have those wordings in their skill descriptions. Copper says according to defense, so that means he takes both attack and defense into account for damage scaling. Whereas Bulldozer says proportionate to defense, so he only cares about defense for the purposes of his damage scaling. So there we go. Those are 10 secret mechanics in Summoner's War. If you have any in your head that I missed, leave them in a comment down below. And if there are enough to make another video and you guys like this one, then maybe I'll do another one with user submitted mechanics. See y'all next time. Bye-bye.